Perfect. I'll kick things off. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this webinar and a real collaboration between UCAS Media, Unibuddy, and the University of Glasgow. And we're going to be focusing on Unibuddy as well as Unibuddy on UCAS. So I'm just going to start with a few introductions. So first of all, hello, my name is Matt Criddle. I'm the Head of Education at UCAS Media. I've been working at UCAS for around 10 years now. My team support universities with their marketing and recruitment activities. And I've been involved in the Unibuddy on UCAS project pretty much since the beginning, really, when Diego, Unibuddy CEO, first came to UCAS HQ to discuss how we could bring peer engagement to UCAS. So it was a really exciting kind of moment and conversation. I'd like to introduce you today to my fellow panelists. So we have Cami from Unibuddy. Cami, say hello and talk to us about your role at Unibuddy.
Hi everyone, thanks Matt. So I'm Cami and I'm a Customer Success Manager at Unibuddy, and I work with partners in the UK, across Europe and as far as Singapore and Malaysia. And really my day-to-day role just entails working closely with them, supporting them and ensuring that they're getting the most out of the Unibuddy platform and being truly successful with it.
Perfect, thanks Cami. And Cami and I are delighted to be joined by Anne from the University of Glasgow. Anne, thanks for joining us. And please say hi and tell us a little bit about the role that you fulfill at the University of Glasgow.
Well, hello, Anne Wilbur, and I'm at the University of Glasgow. I'm Recruitment Marketing Manager and I look after all things recruitment marketing. Obviously Unibuddy is one of them, and e-communications, and literally anything student recruitment.
Thanks very much, Anne. And we also are delighted to be joined by Emma, also from Unibuddy, who will mainly be joining us for the Q&A. But Emma, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. It's lovely to be here today. Cam, I think we might need the next slide, actually. That's got
that's a good, very good question. Yeah, here we go.
So I think some of you will have already met me, and we've probably had regular meetings over the course of the last 2 years, actually, since I've been at Unibuddy in business development. But prior to that, as you probably know, I was head of recruitment at Queen Mary and Oxford Brookes, where I implemented Unibuddy. So I'm very much come from your side of the fence, having implemented the product and used it throughout the student recruitment journey, particularly effective in our conversion and marketing and outreach activities. So I'll be here on the panel to answer any questions towards the end. So anything from a Unibuddy perspective or that of a university, please don't hesitate to ask.
Great, thanks so much, Emma. Right, I think we're going to look at the agenda next, if we can, Cami.
Here we go.
Perfect, thank you. During the course of the next 30 minutes then or so, we're going to be looking at Unibuddy on UCAS, the story so far, and how we are working together to support the sector during these uncertain times. And we're going to be sharing some of the performance insights from the service to date. I'll also be sharing with you some of our future developments in relation to how we plan to embed Unibuddy on UCAS firmly within the UCAS ecosystem and at all stages of the student decision-making journey. And I'll then be handing you over to Cami, who will be providing you with insights in relation to the power of peer influence before Anne kindly shares her experiences of Unibuddy and Unibuddy on UCAS. And then finally, we'll be covering how you can get involved in the Unibuddy UCAS service in order to support your recruitment efforts right now. So Cami and Anne and I and Emma as well will be hanging out for about another 15 minutes or so after the presentation's been concluded in order to answer any questions that you may have for us. So let's begin. Cami, if you can roll on a couple of slides, please. Okay, so
Let me know when, Matt.
Perfect, all good to go. So incredibly, it's been around 18 months, I think, since Diego first came into UCAS HQ to tell us all about Unibuddy and their ambitions to change the narrative around to make their education decisions by enabling them to directly connect with existing students. He demonstrated clearly the value that the Unibuddy platform was already delivering to universities, helping them engage with prospective students, driving conversion, and ultimately enrolling more students. And it was really that meeting that kick-started a series of conversations about how, through partnership, Unibuddy and UCAS could deliver value to students and to universities by bringing all of their fantastic university ambassadors together in one place within the UCAS digital environment and extending the reach of university ambassadors by facilitating earlier engagement before perhaps they'd even considered which particular provider they were potentially interested in. And then through contextual placements, really enabling prospective students to benefit from peer-to-peer engagement throughout the decision-making journey that they go on with UCAS. So in essence, Unibuddy on UCAS as a concept was born from that initial meeting. Moving on to the next slide, if Cami, if you could. It's fair to say that since then, and since the site, the platform launched in 2019, a lot has changed. And we can't not acknowledge the unique set of challenges that are presented to universities and indeed to us all by the current global pandemic. Recruitment is likely to be significantly impacted with current restrictions in global movement. I saw a recent UCAS survey, for example, that stated that of the 11,000 international students that they surveyed, around 46% had said that the COVID-19 pandemic had impacted their study plans, and of which around 47% said that they were planning to defer their entry to the next academic cycle. And of course, our own domestic restrictions have meant that UK students simply can't discover and engage with universities via the traditional channels and touch points, such as exhibitions and open days, as an example. And from a student perspective, there's uncertainty around how the current recruitment cycle will play out and whether or not there'll be an impact on the next 2020 recruitment cycle. So it's fair to say that in many respects, despite there's never been a better time in order to digitalise activity and communications with students. And at UCAS and Unibuddy, we really wanted to show our support to the sector by opening up Unibuddy on UCAS to as many universities and colleges as possible, so that we can help them engage with students and during this difficult time. And that is essentially why we wanted to run the webinar through today. So moving on to the next one, if you don't mind, Cami. So this is effectively how we are delivering this at the moment, how we're helping to support the sector. So we're providing access to the Unibuddy on UCAS platform for free if you already work with Unibuddy, and for a small setup fee of £1,000 if you don't. And for this, you will receive access to the Unibuddy on UCAS platform, and that access will be granted for an unlimited number of ambassadors, which you will control and view engagement statistics via a Unibuddy dashboard. Or if you already work with Unibuddy, and many of you do, then your existing dashboard will simply be upgraded so you can view those statistics and engagement indicators. And then UCAS will be actively promoting the Unibuddy on UCAS platform to all of its student, teacher and advisor audiences. And if any of you saw the recent UCAS Facebook Live event, which involved the Education Minister, you would have seen our own CEO, Claire Marchant, talk about and encourage students to check out Unibuddy on UCAS. And this fantastic offer extends from now up until the 1st of August 2020, so it's a 4-month period for you to get involved and to start engaging with students who are actively looking for information on the UCAS website. Moving on to the next slide. So why Unibuddy on UCAS? Sorry, back one, Cami, to the back one, if you don't mind. Sorry, no, next one back. So that one, perfect. No, sorry, back a couple. Next one back. Sorry about that. So Unibuddy on UCAS. So from a student perspective, Unibuddy on UCAS is really about providing a secure space and environment where they can engage with existing students. And not just that, but engage with existing students from a wide variety of different universities and representing a comprehensive coverage of courses to ensure that all interests are catered for. And they can engage with ambassadors from a diverse range of countries. And that's to the benefit of the 140,000 odd EU and international applicants who apply through UCAS each year. And by doing so, the aim of the partnership is to increase aspiration, to build confidence, and to empower those students to ask the questions that really matter to them, and to enable them to gather the information that they need in order to make the correct HE decisions. And I think, again, given what's happening at the moment, never has there been a more important time for students to have access to a support tool like this. So next slide is all about what it is from a university perspective. And really, this is an opportunity. And this whole opportunity from a university's perspective is about personalised brand response marketing and advertising. It's unique to any other form of brand advertising, in as much as it's highly personal, it's emotive, and it generates genuine two-way engagement. So through participating in Unibuddy on UCAS, it will enable you to extend the reach and the influence of your fantastic student ambassadors. It will enable you to engage earlier and build brand equity and influence that decision-making right from the very beginning. and it will provide high visibility at those crucial moments that matter. So whether that be students researching potential subjects of interest, whether it be shortlisting potential university destinations, or even selecting the right option during clearing, we will be positioning Unibuddy on UCAS at all of those key touch points. So let's take a look at some of the insights from the platform and some of the engagement statistics that we've seen since we launched the full service in November 2019, really to give you a flavour of what you might expect. So first up, the platform itself, we've really seen some fantastic engagement from the UCAS users to the chat to student proposition. And as you can see here, we've had around over 5,000 unique prospects signed up to the service so far, and that's a number that's increasing daily as we speak. There have been over 10,000 communications, unique communications with over, or conversations rather, with over 1,300 student ambassadors at 55 providers, covering all UK countries and regions. So some fantastic coverage, in meaning we can engage as many possible students as we can who are looking and using the platform. And there have been over 100,000 messages exchanged between prospects and ambassadors. And the top 5 subjects in terms of engagement, in terms of ambassador engagement to date, have been subjects allied to medicine, dentistry, business and management, and creative arts and design and social studies. Now, the next 2 slides aren't included in our support offer, but if you do decide to continue as a Unibuddy on UCAS partner post-August, you will receive these benefits too, and I think they're great to show you the full service and also the full level of engagement that we're seeing. So this next slide looks at the post-engagement emails that we send. So we send an email, a bespoke Solus email on behalf of the provider that is associated to the ambassador that the prospect is engaged with, and we've seen some fantastic results from these. And they are highly personalised, relevant and timely. They land in the recipient's inbox 4 days after they were in communication with the ambassador. And as of the end of May, we've sent nearly 4,000 bespoke emails on behalf of universities to unique recipients. And in total, there have been around 2,254 unique opens, and that's an average open rate of 59%. And an average click-through rate across all of those emails of 11.26%. So really phenomenal performance from those post-engagement emails. And the highest performing client has enjoyed a 67% open rate and a 14.34% click-through rate. So really fantastic engagement and proving that the platform and the relevancy of the platform and taking advantage of that recent engagement is really, really powerful. And then finally, the next slide is really looking at again, part of the full service, should you join us post-August, is that we are providing success reports. So back, it's a next slide, back, a couple of slides back, sorry. Look, yeah, you got it. So these success reports effectively will be reports that we provide to give you insights into the impact of the interactions that have taken place via the platform. And there'll be 2 reports that we'll produce twice a year, one after the January 50 deadline and the other after the close of the cycle. And in those reports, what you'll see is how many of the prospective students that have engaged with your ambassadors decide to apply to your university. You'll also see after the close of cycle report, how many go on to be placed and accepted at your university. You will see demographic insights into the profile of those applying and being accepted, such as domicile, sex and polar quintile. And then finally, you'll find out the number of prospective students who engaged with your ambassadors but were placed and accepted elsewhere. So some really rich insights there. And obviously the purpose of these reports are all about providing you with a clear view of your return on investment. And just to reiterate, the free access to the platform that we're offering until August doesn't include the post-engaged emails or success reports, but it does enable you to benefit from having an unlimited number of students, ambassadors actively engaging with prospective students on the UCAS website right now. So what are our future plans for Unibuddy on UCAS? So I think it was really important as part of these webinars to demonstrate how UCAS is embracing chat to students, the Unibuddy on UCAS proposition, and plans to firmly embed Unibuddy on UCAS as a core component in its student experience. We have a roadmap of development plans, and all of them are aimed at bringing Unibuddy on UCAS to an increased number of students and at key decision-making moments. And as you'll see on this particular slide, there are around 5 core areas of focus at the moment. The first is contextual email promotions to pre-apps, so very much looking at that 2021 audience at the moment. And in these email communications, effectively we'll be showcasing the fantastic student ambassadors and raising awareness of the platform and sparking interest. You know, it's fair to say that the student ambassadors really are the stars of the show here. Next, we have contextual content placements. So we'll be providing high visibility of the platform against rich content throughout the student journey with UCAS. And an example of that is the city guides, which recently we have published on the UCAS website. Really great information around some of the key cities across the UK and what it's like to live and study in those cities. And we'll be looking to surface relevant ambassadors who are studying at the institutions within those cities via those pages, so that students can encounter the opportunity to engage with students much more regularly. University profiles. So these are all part of the new Student Hub, which was launched last year. And really our aim is to position your ambassadors front and center of your profile on UCAS, on the UCAS New Student Hub, so that again, we can really speed up and make that process of engaging with your students as quick and as efficient as possible. We're really excited about developments within UCAS Explore and Search. So students who are looking for your institution and course information will be able to directly engage with your existing students, which will be fantastic. And that deployment of that development work is imminent in the next few weeks. And then UCAS social takeovers. And this is all about putting Unibuddy student ambassadors at the forefront of UCAS's student-focused social activities, such as Facebook Live events. And I think we ran one quite recently with some ambassadors from the University of Leicester, for example. Now, the next couple of slides really are just to give you some examples of these developments. As you can see, if Camille rolls on to the next one, here you've got some examples of how we'll be surfacing your ambassadors on your university profiles. The furthest image to the left within the sort of yellow dotted box. The middle image of the course profile. So how we anticipate the students to be surfaced on your course profile pages on the UCAS website and in UCAS Explore and Search. And then finally, the subject guides. Subject guides are really about inspiration for students at that initial kind of very early pre-applicant phase. And in this particular one, I think it's a geography subject guide. You know, we'll be surfacing relevant students studying those particular courses so that students can engage with them early and ask them all the questions that they have around studying geography at university, as an example. And then finally, on the next slide, we've got some examples of our imminent development releases within UCAS Search. So these examples show how prospective students will be alerted effectively to providers and to courses with relevant ambassadors that they can engage with while they're actively searching for opportunities on UCAS Search. I'm sure you'll agree that these are some really exciting developments. You know, we really can't wait for them to be deployed. And they will really help cement Unibuddy on UCAS as front and center of UCAS's relationship with prospective students and their advisors. And I think particularly there's going to be a huge amount of value from this at this uncertain time. So that pretty much brings my part of the presentation, the content, to a close. And I'm going to now hand you over to Cami, who's going to demonstrate through some peer-to-peer insights why all of this matters. So over to you, Cami.
Thanks, Matt. And sorry for that, the issue with the slides. Turns out I was just clicking a button, which meant going to the next slide and not going to the previous slide. So sorry about that.
Easy mistake to make.
So I'm going to start off with just taking you through what we know at Unibuddy about the context around peer-to-peer engagements and why these interactions are so important and influential in the decision-making process of prospective students around the world. And I'll take then a few minutes to introduce you to Unibuddy and really highlight some of those key features that Unibuddy have and how you can really embed peer-to-peer across the whole student journey. So to start off with, I want to just take some time to flag some of these Generation Z behavior insights and these following stats that we know, which really demonstrate the recent shift of behavior, of online behavior of this Generation Z, which is our target audience and the target audience of most universities at the moment recruiting. So based on these stats, we know that 82% of prospective students will now be spending more time on their smartphones, 58% will be spending longer on social media, and 62% will be spending longer on messaging services such as WhatsApp. So this really illustrates that now, more than ever, universities really need to be maintaining a strong digital brand and presence and ensure that they're reaching this target audience, this Generation Z, and also meeting their evolving needs, their evolving online behaviors, and their expectations as to how they want to communicate. And universities really need to be doing this now more than ever at every stage of the student decision-making journey, not just at the beginning of the journey in the research phase, but throughout that journey, right up until enrollment. Students are relying more and more on peer opinions, on social media to make these really huge life-changing decisions, such as, for example, which university to attend. And this is backed by data. So we can see from various surveys that 9 out of 10 prospects will say that they consult a college or university search review site when making their decision. 86% of students say that user-generated content is a good indication of the quality of the brand. And finally, 74% of prospective students actually say that they want to interact with current students as part of that decision-making process. So what this really indicates here is that prospective students now expect to be able to engage with those who have already made that journey and are already currently experiencing life at your university when deciding whether or not that university will be a good fit for them and where it'll be somewhere that they'll be happy, they'll thrive, and they'd like to study at. So they're really now expecting a personalized recruitment experience during the whole admissions journey. And in normal times, this is especially true for international students and any students that are unable to visit your campus, but getting this firsthand and authentic experience can be a real challenge. So in today's current climate with coronavirus, this challenge is actually faced by most students in the world, if not all of them across the world. And currently, universities can really only provide this personalized, tailored admissions experience that these Generation Z students are so longing for through their online activity. And with Unibuddy, our partners are really facilitating these online peer insights across that whole journey, from a student's first visit to your website, all the way through to application, to them accepting their offer and enrollment and actually attending and joining your campus come September, in a way that this generation wants to communicate and in a way that's in line and in tune with how they communicate. So here are just a few quotes I wanted to flag at this point, taken from our user survey, which really resonate this idea that prospective students hugely benefit from hearing directly from students and peers already at a particular university they have in mind and already experiencing life there. So just a few quotes. It says, to clear any doubts that they may have without the formality of talking to a university representative, I am glad that such a platform exists. There's no better way of knowing about a course in detail than by contacting a current student enrolled in the course. And finally, and this one I think really brings that feeling to the forefront. It made me feel much better and making that decision much easier. So really showing how much this generation rely on their peers to make these truly life-changing decisions. So how might you make that happen for your university? I wanted to take the next few minutes to really just introduce Unibuddy and introduce where Unibuddy can have an impact here, and how you can embed it across your student journey and throughout the process. So Unibuddy will really give you the access to the tools you need and the data you need to attract, reassure, and also convert your students moving forward. The current offer includes the Unibuddy on UCAS marketing feature that Matt has just described. And I'm not going to be giving you a demo here or anything. That's not my role. I just want to take the time to really highlight some of the key features and some of the key products actually that are particularly beneficial to our partners at the moment and could be really beneficial to you due to the coronavirus outbreak and everything turning online. So if you haven't actually seen the full product yet, the best person for you in this situation would be Emma. She's actually with us here today and she'll be taking questions at the end, but Emma will be able to really go in depth with the demo, show you each functionality. And for me, this is just an occasion to just give you a high level overview of all these different products and the functionalities our partners are relying on at the moment. So firstly, with the Unibuddy platform and dashboard, you'll have access to analytics, conversation insights, and reporting. So you'll gain insights into the conversations that are actually taking place on Unibuddy between prospective students and your current students. We have a machine learning powered tool that will tell you exactly what topics your future students are talking about, what's important to them. And this really will be essential for you to inform the content you then send them in follow-up emails, and also what content you share on social media, as we know they're reverting to those channels more and more. You will also own the student data that's collected from the sign-ups on your website, and you'll be able to integrate Unibuddy as a call to action in all your email communications and your email campaigns. And our partners have actually seen some real success in integrating Unibuddy as a call to action throughout their communications, from inquirer follow-ups, you know, with cold leads, warm leads, all the way through to offer letters and also enrollment letters come September. The next feature I wanted to show you is the Unibuddy blogging functionality. And this will really allow you to promote that user-generated content such as blogs and video stories created by your ambassadors, which we know from the stats I presented earlier on in the presentation are really crucial in shaping a student's opinion of a brand, and in this situation, a university. And we've actually seen some really good content posted recently, such as tips for working from home during lockdown, which I think would be very helpful even to me, so let alone to students at the moment stuck at home. And also this one is pretty big, how to survive lockdown. And I think this content can be really useful to share in your outbound campaigns and on your social media channels as well, and kind of encourage students to sign up to Unibuddy and chat with your students. And with the app, it means that students can just do this from anywhere. So wherever they are, if they're usually in normal times on campus, or if they've gone home during the outbreak, they can just do a blog post something from their blog within the app, which is fantastic. And we've actually seen that across the platform, there's been over 3,000 pieces of user-generated content that have been produced. And the next two features I want to highlight really work hand in hand. And we've actually seen an amazing response by our current partners, really making the most of these features and using them in the current climate to reassure their 2020 applicants and offer holders through this time of uncertainty. So these products are staff profiles that you can see on the left-hand side, and also Unibuddy Live group chats that you can see on the right-hand side. So the idea of staff profiles is that you can really embed these across your website, and you can get all key departments on board. So you could have admissions team members, the recruitment officers, members of your accommodation team, so they can provide reassurance about what's going to happen to their accommodation, visa departments, financial aid, etc. You name it, they can have their own student profile card, staff profile card on your website. And actually, I think Anne's got some really great tips to share about how they've embraced these staff profiles and used these staff profiles at the University of Glasgow. So I'll let her tell you more about those. But the next product I wanted to flag is the Unibuddy Live events group chat platform. So you can see a screenshot on the right-hand side there. And I have to say, our current partners have been truly amazing at adapting to this new world and using Unibuddy Live to host some online offer holder open days. And with that, they're able to invite ambassadors, their staff members representing all the different teams across the university, and even faculty members to connect and exchange with prospective students and offer holders in this group live chat. And this has been a really useful tool in getting named offer holders signing up and attending these live events as they look for information and reassurance during these times. And just a quick stat here, over the past 2 weeks alone, our universities have seen 16,000 signups, and many of which have been through these live events, which is truly amazing. And actually, some events have had up to 80 staff members and faculty members connecting online with offer holders, which I think really goes to show how all parts of universities, you know, as far as academic departments, are truly embracing this new digital world we live in. And in the current context, Emma will be able to tell you more about this, but we're offering staff profiles and Unibuddy Lives as part of this, as part of the new Getting on Board with Unibuddy package. So to recap, by getting on board with Unibuddy now, you'll be looking to reassure and convert your 2020 applicants over the upcoming period, and also build and collect relationships looking forward to the 2021 class by collecting those leads on your website. And as I touched upon earlier, in the current climate, it is so important for universities to enable these online connections between future students and your current students throughout that entire journey. So last slide from me before I pass on to Anne. I really just wanted to bring everything together in terms of what Matt said, what you've heard from Matt about Unibuddy on UCAS, and the piece about Unibuddy throughout the student journey. So Unibuddy on UCAS is a way for students to see your brand and engage with it right at the start of the funnel in their research period, and maybe come across your university even if they hadn't considered it before. It's essentially marketing. It's comparable to any advertising campaigns you would run on UCAS.com or any other comparable student sites you might advertise on. And with this feature, Unibuddy on UCAS.com, you get branding and engagement. But to really take that further into the second stage of the diagram here, the engage and convert part, the Unibuddy platform is your way to have really rich engagements with students at every stage of their journey, with your 2020 applicants and offer holders who at the moment are really looking for reassurance and looking forward to your 2021 prospects who will be at the moment seeking for information and currently starting their research. So what I really recommend is that you adopt Unibuddy now, and which includes your university presence on UCAS and also use of free staff profiles and live events, allowing you to really engage and convert your current offer holders. So that's it from me. It's now my pleasure to pass over to Anne at the University of Glasgow, who will be able to share her own insights about the impact Unibuddy has had and also Unibuddy on UCAS.com has had on their student journey at Glasgow. So over to you, Anne, and I will try to be a little bit more efficient with the slides.
That's all right. Thanks very much, Cami. I'll wait for the slide. So just to start off with, there's actually something missing. That's strange.
Here it is.
Oh, here it is. That's
I thought it was an animation. Sorry.
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe I'm better than I think on this. So just to tell the Glasgow story. For years we had an Ask a Student service, which is where students could talk to students, but they sent in an email, and we then matched it up with somebody from a spreadsheet and copied them in and said, can you respond to the email, but copy us in? And it was really laborious and really admin intensive. And as time went on, we knew we needed to be more professional. But we also knew that peer-to-peer was growing and students definitely wanted to talk to students. We're getting less taken in by all the marketing stuff and more like, I want to ask somebody who's actually involved in the experience at Glasgow. There's lots of change happening at Glasgow. The admin support, somebody said to me, right, you're going to lose your admin support. So it's like, right, what we're going to do. And then the big boom was GDPR on the horizon. So I was thinking, right, we definitely need something. We need to look better. And also there's a lot of information comes from students talking to each other and helping each other out. And we never retained that very well. So we needed to do something. So I went looked at various platforms, and with a few others at Glasgow, we had meetings, and like Unibuddy felt that was the most straightforward, most simplest platform out there. So we've totally loved it, and I think we've just really embraced it really well. Since we started in 2018, we've had 4,788 prospects, which is fantastic. We've got 87 Unibuddies, which is a bit crazy, but I didn't want to say no to anybody, and I love the fact that we've got students that can chat about all different courses from 31 different countries. So it's actually fantastic when students that are asking a question, the prospects want to search, to have 87 Unibuddies. And it's going up all the time, basically, because students always want to volunteer for it, and I don't say no, so we'll probably get over 100 shortly. 43 undergrads, 44 PGs, so quite an even split. Obviously the PGs are hard going because you lose them every year. You get them and then they'll be here and then they're gone, so we have to try and recruit them really quick in October to get them for as long as we can. We've got 26 staff profiles. Cami mentioned the staff profiles. I can't believe how simple and fantastic they are to set up, and that has been almost so fantastic with the coronavirus outbreak, because we suddenly put the 26 staff on, I think it was in 24 hours, had people online, and there's 11 in country, and it's so simple because when it's the students, I always train them, and we do an hour's training on best practice, code of conduct, that kind of thing. With staff, they can just go straight on, so it's actually brilliant. And all that totals 29,000 conversations and interactions. Conversations are fantastic. It's like gold dust. The way students talk to each other and can give such a level of detail that we would never know, whether it's based on accommodation or the level of detail on a course, or just their perception, how they feel about something. We could never ever replicate that, and it is amazing. I've got some quotes that I'll show you, but what always astounds me is I've got so many questions where people have said, how do you feel about Glasgow? Are you glad you chose Glasgow? What do you think I should do? So it's that huge responsibility for our students, our Unibuddies, when they respond. So it's actually fantastic in terms of providing that level of information and that openness. Like, yeah, ask our students anything, ask our staff whatever you like, ask them anything. We've got, so I feel as though it's really good because we've got such a wide range of people to ask, so you'd always be able to get your answer from somebody. In terms of inquiries, India, UK, Nigeria, Pakistan and China. So that's, yeah, no surprises. Cami, can you take me to the next slide, please?
Oh, there's the animation for GDPR. That's the next one.
What I did there. So I've got hundreds of examples, and in another presentation I did, I put a lot more in, and I can always provide anybody with examples. So if anybody wants to contact me afterwards, and I can show you some of the comments. I've got loads where people say that was amazing, that was fantastic. But what I absolutely love is when we've achieved something. So on this comment at the top, my nervousness had been relieved considerably. How nice is that, that we can help somebody and reinforce that it's the right decision, and what you thought about Glasgow is what Glasgow is. So you've read about it online, you may have got the brochure, and then you chat to a student and it's all reinforced that Glasgow is what we say it is. And I just think it's lovely, and reassuring somebody, yes, you've made the right choice. It is a lot to invest in time and finance, and it has to be the right choice for somebody. And I loved the fact that by putting the students to talk to each other, all the good stuff happens. We're quite hands-off at Glasgow, so I train the students, and then we say we offer an impartial service, so they can say what they like, more or less. We kind of monitor it, but they can just tell their story exactly how it is, because I just want the authenticity to come through. The second comment, where this indeed helps a lot, I'm a lot clearer about things. Sometimes students don't understand how it's going to be from the material that we give them or online, and when a student, you can see the chit chat going where they just explain something in more detail. So that's the way the classrooms are. So I don't have to buy all the new books. I can trade, or I can go to the second-hand bookshop. It's just things like that to reassure somebody and help them. And it's just really straightforward. And there are hundreds and hundreds of lovely examples like this, which is just so nice to see. It's the nicest part of marketing for me. I do digital campaigns where you push your messages out there. But this to me is the loveliness, because it's just really, really nice, giving information and helping people out so that they can make the right decision. Yeah, Glasgow's for me. Oh, actually, no, it's not quite for me. I didn't realise that programme was like that. Well, that's fine. It's making sure that the right people make the right decision. So again, if anybody wants me to share any more examples, that's fine. If you can click me to the next slide. So this is an example of where we've embedded it into the student journey. So obviously people that want to go to the Unibuddy website, go to our website and chat to a student, they can do that because it's /ask-a-student. But then we also wanted to put it in our ecoms. So this is, the one on the left is just a basic one, sorry, not basic one, but just a soulless email just about Unibuddy. And the response was unbelievable, actually. We got loads and loads and loads and loads of sign-ups, which is really good. And then the other one is an example of where we just put it as a general one. We always have it in an econ. We always connect up to Unibuddy, because no matter what you're saying, the students will say, well, let me talk to a student. Let me find out whether that's true. Let me ask about this. And it's great now we've got the staff on as well, which has been, the amount of questions they've had is unbelievable. So we've only been on a couple of weeks. So, and then the staff profiles, that's an example of an embedded staff profile. But again, the response is, you've got to be careful when you send these out, because we've got to so many offer holders that the response is unbelievable. And the staff are like, whoa, there's loads coming in. But it's very easy with the staff profiles to click them on and off if somebody's getting bombarded, which is what we do, and just give them a break for a couple of days and try and get new people on. So that's an example of, yeah, so you've got the Unibuddy on our website where people are going to it, so they're being proactive and going to our website, and then there's where we reach them in the ecoms to offer holders, and we do it to all our pre-apps as well. And so we're trying to get it out there as much as possible. And students like the fact that we are saying, you know, we've got a lot of students you can talk to anybody, ask us anything. So if you can just take me to the next thing. So so that brings us to UCAS. So we were doing really well on Unibuddy, really liked it. And then I got a call saying, do you want to trial UCAS? And we said, yeah, Glasgow likes to trial things, absolutely no problem. And again, it's been fantastic. With UCAS, it's a lot more proactive. We're not waiting for somebody to come to our website. So they must have already had to know about Glasgow, obviously, to come to our website to ask a question. With UCAS, we can be reaching people that might never have considered Glasgow. And we can see that we are. The reach is unbelievable. So we started trialling it in December. I've got 37 Unibuddies on there, and we've had 675 conversations, really good conversations with people. And again, no surprises with the countries. And the list goes on forever and ever and ever with the amount of countries. So we've been really pleased. We just think it's brilliant to be able for students to go onto UCAS and then just be able to chat to students from universities rather than having to click off and going onto different platforms at different universities. Again, really straightforward. It's a good, trustworthy thing to be saying. Associated with UCAS, ask us anything, and ask all different universities the questions and the ambassadors, and then see where you want to go. It's just a really nice, non-heavy marketing way of doing things. So we're really pleased. So if I can have the next slide. Thank you. So the benefits, they're really straightforward for students to make contact with, for prospective students to make contact with staff and students. And to me, that is a no-brainer in any marketing element. It's just what you need to be doing, particularly nowadays. Students want access. It's obvious from the stats that Cami was showing, and it's just a no-brainer. I like the Unibuddy in that sense because they can choose who they want. So some people, I think, just go to the top of the website, click the first person. Others will do it based on level or based on course. Or I've had questions where they've gone to a student and said, oh, you're from South America. Are there any South American societies? Or what's the sport like? And people have looked on other elements, not just your level and the country. A lot go on the country you're coming from as well, just because of the familiarity. I love the fact there's like instant stats. So before, everything was on a spreadsheet for us, and it was like nervous breakdown stuff, trying to keep track of it all. Stats, it's fantastic. We can just go in, we can see sign-ups, we can track from our e-coms, how many from that e-coms have clicked and how many sign up. It's just really good. Again, I've mentioned the transparency. The insights now is really good, so we can see what students from what countries are asking what questions, or what students from what subjects are asking what questions, which is really good. Again, this can influence what you put on your website, what you put in your social media and other e-coms. The pre-app sign up, so when a student obviously goes to sign up to Unibuddy, they can tick that they want to receive marketing e-coms, so then they go into we've got an e-coms workflow that they then go into. That's really nice. And what I love about it is it's just, I find it very straightforward. So it's not complicated. When they said, do you want to do the UCAS, I was thinking, oh yeah, but is that going to be complicated putting Unibuddies on UCAS? How do we do it? Literally, click of a button. And then the staff profiles, we've been getting them up so quick within the hour. If somebody says, staff member, I need to go online, get me on. Very straightforward. So that's why we like it so much, and we've invested quite a lot into it. So I think that's my slides.
Thanks.
I'm happy to take any questions. If anybody ever wants to email me direct, that's fine.
Thanks, Anne. And I just want to say, hats off to you, because, you clearly have been putting a lot into Unibuddy, and that really shows in the success you're having and how the impact it's having on your ambassadors, I'm sure, who really enjoy being online, but also on all those students that their decisions have been made so much easier thanks to the work you put in with Unibuddy. So yeah. Hats off to you.
Thank you. It's interesting as well, because some of the students put, I've got an offer at another university, and I've got an offer at Glasgow. What do you think I should do? And that's crazy that they're asking a student for that kind of. Yeah, it's a huge responsibility. And we've got other ones where they've said, because of this conversation, I'm definitely coming to Glasgow now. So and things like that are really good for when we want to be able to get more money to invest in Unibuddy and spend more time with the ambassadors or training and stuff. It's good to show directors, and just show above, like, this is really good stuff. What we do, we're definitely making an impact. So yeah, I like it.
Thanks, Anne. And I'm sure your sick and tired of hearing from me, so I really won't be long. But I just wanted to let you know before we open up for questions, and I'll have to check whether we've got any already. But the onboarding process is really straightforward. So you'll have a customer success manager like me, or Laura, or Ian, or Carolina at Unibuddy, and we'll get you up and running. It can be done in a matter of days. There'll be a few materials we need from you. We were to set up your platform. You can then get up and running with your staff members. If you need to still source out which ambassadors you've got, then activate them on UCAS. And if you're going for that full package, which we recommend, you can then, we can give you advice on how to embed it within your website, make sure it's really, really visible, easy to find, and set you up for success. So we can talk about that at a later stage, but for now, I'm really keen to just get the questions going and open up the questions to the floor. Let me have a look. Q&A.
How much time do you need to invest in this each week in this to get the success Glasgow? Do you want me to answer that?
Oh yes, please, Anne.
I think you do need to invest, and it's interesting with Unibuddy. It's as much as you want to put in, so you can do a bit and it works okay, or you can invest a lot and you get really good results. So I go on it in a perfect week, which I've not had for like 3 weeks. I would go on it every day and try to look at answers, and just try to look at what's going on. So I would say about an hour a day, but there is also a colleague that I work with that goes on for probably about an hour a day as well. But in other days, I can spend a good couple of hours if I'm looking for examples for a presentation, or just to show my line manager, then I'll go in a bit more. I just think it's as much as you want, because now we've got 87 and we're getting so many questions. I can't look at every single conversation, so I just try and go in and look at as many as I want. But it's a really hard one to say. But I would say initially 2 hours a week, 2 to 3 hours a week. But you could do a lot more. And there are times when I go on it a lot more. And just to say as well, so we chat to students through the inbox, which is on the Unibuddy thing, but we've also got a Facebook that we set up, a Facebook page, which has been fantastic. That way the students can all talk to each other as well. So quite often they'll get a question, part of a few questions, and they can't answer part of it, so they'll just post something and just say, like, did anybody stay in Murano? Can you describe it? Is it noisy, or is it this, that, the student accommodation? And somebody will post an answer. So that's been really good. That takes a bit of investment, because I also go on the Facebook every day. And I do like my good morale things and say, like, well done, you guys are amazing answering these questions. And it's quite a bit more of a community, because when you're doing it through the dashboard, it's just a one-to-one, whereas the Facebook page creates a bit of a community. So it's all about how much you want to invest. And we also did a takeover where we asked 3 of the students that were just fantastic and said, all the questions that you get asked, will you do an Instagram takeoff and go and show the answers to them? And that was brilliant as well. So it's as much or as little as you want to put in, basically. But I've invested quite a lot, because I think the stuff we're getting back is just fantastic.
Thanks, Anne. Emma, can you, I'm sorry, I think I can only see the chat, I can't see the Q&A. I think my Google Slides is hiding it. So I think there's 4 questions in there, but I can't see them.
They're filling up fast.
Okay, would you mind?
I don't mind. Most of them are to me.
Well, so Anne.
Yeah.
I can read them out, and I'm happy to take a couple as well, and then the ones to you, Anne, as well, if that's helpful. So in terms of the staff time to manage the platform, with the dashboard, people can go in and approve blog posts, as Anne was saying, keep an eye on the conversations, but we hope it kind of runs itself in terms of it all being contained within the dashboard. And when I was at Queen Mary, we had a student recruitment assistant who was managed by an officer level post, who was responsible for overseeing the platform, and spent between an hour to 2 hours, as Anne was saying, a week, just keeping an eye on the platform, the content, and sharing the web links to various parts of the institution when they were using it in campaigns. And there's a question: what is the recommended time commitment of each ambassador, and how are they needed, and how regularly do they receive notifications? So that you can see the time that the ambassador has spent typing and submitting responses within the platform, I think, which makes payment and managing the ambassador time quite straightforward and quite easy to do. And this is also coupled with another question, Anne, to you about whether you pay your ambassadors.
Yeah. So no, so we don't pay them at Glasgow. We have it as volunteering. It goes on the transcript. They know when they sign up that it's voluntary, and we still are inundated, as you can see, with having 87. I talk about the benefits to them, so it goes on the transcript. Sometimes if there is paid work, they are the first people that we would go to. If it's a photo shoot or something like that that we're going to pay, and then they would be the first people that we would go to. But no, we don't pay. The other benefit is a lot of them just like the social aspect. They're meeting a lot of other students because we do quite a few socials with them. And there's Anton does a volunteers reception every year, which is brilliant, at the principal's lodging, and they seem to hold that in really high regard. The students, but they get invited to Anton's principal's house, and it's really sociable, and it's a really, really, really good night. And then, like I said before, we have socials as well, so we don't pay them. But what I do is, so the students that did the takeover, they did it just before the coronavirus outbreak. So I would have taken them out to lunch, and so we'll take them out, and that's a treat. Other students that do favours for us, or the ones that do extra blogs and stuff, I say to them, go and choose a university jumper and things like that. So they're really, really good, but I don't pay them directly. It would be phenomenal and a full-time job to work out the hours for 8 to 7.
You are quite an exception in with respect to the number of ambassadors, to those prospective partners on the call and those other current partners we have on the webinar today. That's an unusually large amount of ambassadors to have on the platform, which is fantastic. But commonly our partners, just talking more broadly, will pay their ambassadors for an hour a week. And they can check that amount of time being spent on the platform in the dashboard. But an hour a week is often more than enough to be able to ensure the ambassadors have time to reply to the questions that they're receiving through the platform, and to also create user-generated content and blog posts. And that hour will allow them to be able to do that, and you can check times during confirmation and clearing. They can potentially claim for an additional hour, or if you're doing a particular campaign and asking them to create more content for you, you can simply go in and check the dashboard and see what they're claiming for actually corresponds to what they're requesting. So an hour a week is, I think, would you agree, Cam, from a customer success perspective, that that's the most common method of providing payment to a group of maybe 15 to 20 ambassadors for larger institutions, but many institutions don't start with that number of ambassadors, but you can add them very quickly and easily where there are gaps in perhaps subject areas.
An hour a week, 4 hours a month, and if some months are a bit quieter, or they can always create content like blogs and things like that as well to make up for that hour. So yeah, I think that's definitely one of the easiest ways of doing it.
I think because we don't pay at Glasgow, we've invested a lot in building a really good relationship with them. Not that you wouldn't have otherwise, but I can only ask people to do it, and so that's why we've done the Facebook, to make it easier for them to communicate with each other, and we do various socials, and then we do I was saying, to try and encourage people to do blogs. The first 10 that do blogs get hoodies, and then nobody was doing a GIF, which I wanted everybody to do a GIF when they signed up, and everybody was just sending in photos. So I said, if you change it to a GIF, I'll send you a pair of Glasgow socks. So it's that kind of thing. I'm just all about cajoling and bribery is what I do. But it works really well. And when I ask them, like, why do you volunteer? Because that's what with the first question when we do training, introduce yourself and explain why you wanted to do Unibuddy. A lot of them say because they did have it when they came in and it made the journey a lot easier, or they didn't have it and therefore, or they didn't know about Unibuddy and therefore wanted to help somebody else. There's a lot of philanthropy with the students about helping each other, and particularly with the internationals, they see it as really good kudos if their class is a Unibuddy, to tell their parents and other students. So, and they like the fact that it goes on the transcript, and the postgraduate ones for some of the colleges, it goes on the graduate attributes, so it's seen as one of their activities, so they really like that.
It's really interesting you say that, Anne, and I remember when I went down to Unibuddy HQ, just after we ran the trial in July, and we had some of the ambassadors who've been part of the trial come along also, and it was a really great experience to chat to them about why they did it, and many of the reasons they gave back up what you just said. But one in particular moment I recall was one of the ambassadors telling me about how then on campus he would be walking around campus and see people would come up to him who he had given advice to via Unibuddy, and he was almost like a mini sort of celeb on campus, and you could just, he sort of really loved it from that perspective in terms of how it kind of transitioned from the digital interactions into physical interactions on campus at a later date.
Yeah,
I have a question here from Matt. Sorry, Cam, I'm not sure whether you can see the questions. Are you
No, I can't. Can you, are you happy to look at that? And also, I'm aware that I think this webinar is until 12, so just to make sure it doesn't suddenly cut off, I think we've got around 6 minutes left.
Super. A very quick one, I think, for Matt there. Can I ask if there's a cost for signing up for UCAS on Unibuddy if the university is already a member, if we've already got the main platform? And are there any GDPR regulations for signing current Unibuddies onto the UCAS feature?
So in terms of the first part, no. Obviously, if you're an existing Unibuddy customer or client, then you can come on board to Unibuddy on UCAS for free of charge for the period, for the offer period that we're running to help support the sector. So that is something you can absolutely take advantage of, and I would sort of encourage you to reach out to Emma and Cami and the team to kind of make that happen. In terms of the second question, are there any GDPR regulations for signing current university at the university?
It's an extent because it's the existing platform that's hosted on the institution's website. So if in terms of the license agreement and terms and conditions of usage and the user terms and conditions, it's exactly the same. It's the same ambassadors pulled through onto the UCAS website. So they're utilising the same dashboard, the same information, the same data analytics being captured. So my understanding is, in terms of the GDPR regulations for actually having current Unibuddies from your main platform on the Unibuddy on UCAS page, there isn't any additional compliance regulations over and above the existing one. But of course, for new partners and those taking advantage of the UCAS offer, there will be a license and terms and conditions agreement that we can share and discuss post-webinar. Have we got any more? Yes, I think we might just get through these actually in the time allocated, because I think this is the last one. Has there been much success with more traditional subjects such as humanities, education, psychology? As most of those top 5 that were mentioned are courses that are allied to the professions and contain a certain guarantee of employability, I'm worried other subjects might not get enough interest. From a main platform perspective, I can certainly vouch for the fact that the spread of communication across a range of different subjects, for those students that perhaps in more of the humanities and social science areas, questions around access to the career service, study abroad opportunities, graduate employment, and you can see all of that in the data and analytics, the conversational insights. It's really interesting to be able to tailor your future correspondence and communication in line with what students want to know more about. But I think with the Unibuddy on UCAS, I think there's the reference there to the top 5 subject areas, Matt, in relation to UCAS. Did you want to pick up on that in regard to the UCAS feature? Yeah,
we have seen a really good spread. So they absolutely were the top 5, and I guess in some respects, the top 2, lots of intricacies to applying to those sorts of subjects, including interviews, and unsurprising, I guess, why students interested in those subject areas have got a lot of questions they want to ask. But there is a really good spread of courses, and we are obviously with Unibuddy analysing that course spread as it progresses. It's still relatively kind of early days in many respects in terms of the platform's development. So we certainly expect more growth in terms of engagement across subject areas thereafter. I think I referenced in the content some of the promotional email activity that we are executing and looking to execute, and these will very much have a subject-specific focus to them. So we're looking at ways to engage certain students with the platform based around their subject interest, and we will have a good coverage of all the various different subject areas. And I guess the kind of final element will be when we reflect back from some of the post kind of reporting, so to speak, that we'll be producing the success reports. We'll be able to get an aggregate view on how many students are interacting with from various different subject backgrounds, go on to then make applications and acceptances. So in terms of initial indicators, it's a really good spread. They just happen to be the top 5, but we will certainly see that develop and be able to share more insights into that as we progress.
And do you see a spread, Anne? Do you see that the usage of the platform across different subject areas, nationalities, and I think students tend to connect with a prospective student ambassador on the basis of all sorts of things, whether they're interested in hobbies, clubs, societies, interests. Is that the case for you?
I think the majority, you get some people that will root and use the filter, and I think the majority will look for somebody from their own country for that reassurance, or specifically on a subject because they want to know more detail about that subject level. But where we struggle to get places filled, we at the moment, if somebody wants to be a Unibuddy, they just come and I say, yeah, that's fine, I'll train you, and then on you go. Whereas we proactively went to the programs where we were struggling a bit, and we proactively said we want some students from this course so that we can get you on Unibuddy. And then obviously you've got the e-coms, you can embed it into e-coms and you can start doing it that way. So of course it's where we struggle. We just make more of an effort and put a focus on it with the Unibuddy.
Perfect.
We've got 2 more questions.
It's 12 o'clock. I'm just worried that this might shut off at 12, but maybe we can give it a go. I just want to say thank you to everyone for attending anyway, in case it does. I hope that was super helpful. And Emma, I mean, it's 12 o'clock now and it's still running. So Emma, I don't know if you want to have a look at those 2 last questions and then we'll call it a day.
Absolutely. So the last 2 questions, because they're on a different chat, so my apologies for not addressing these sooner. I think we've done the Q&A, but in the other chat, we've also received what happens with the chats if a Unibuddy ambassador does not respond straight away or within the 24-hour response time. Ideally, you want the response to be instant, but that's not often going. This works on the premise of a sort of instant messaging service. So it integrates with WhatsApp and SMS. The prospective student can receive notifications via the existing channels on their mobile device, so they don't have to download anything to their mobile phone. And they will get reminders automatically. The student ambassador, if they haven't responded after certain periods of time, it will automatically remind them. But we do find, because students can be sat on the bus answering questions, they can also be in the coffee shop, they can be at any point in the campus. And as they respond to questions in their social lives and in their normal everyday life, it's something they respond to very quickly, and have the app on their mobile device that makes it very quick and easy for them to respond promptly and certainly within that recommended response time. But yes, they do get alerts, and you can step in as the institution and provide alerts in the dashboard if for any reason they haven't responded within that 24-hour response time. So we can talk about this in more detail. For anybody that has posed questions, if we've missed any or there's any further detail that you'd like to receive, please don't hesitate to email me or any one of the panelists that we've had here today. And the date range for the UCAS integration, Matt, I think you can just clarify that on terms of any of our current partners or new prospects wanting to take up the opportunity, the date range of that offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment it's from now. So we've had a great uptake since we've been promoting the offer over the last few weeks. I think there's been about 17 or so, Emma, correct me if I'm wrong, come on board, and we'd be delighted to welcome more. And at the moment, the plan is to extend the offer up until the 1st of August, so for the next 4 months. That may change, but that's the current plan at this time. So please, again, feel free to touch base with either Emma or with Cami if you want to take advantage of that offer. And you don't have to be an existing customer of Unibuddy's to take advantage of that either. It's a really important point that we want to get across.
So I think back over to you, Cam. I think we've addressed most of the questions on that. And I'd like to thank Anne for taking your time, Anne from the University of Glasgow. It's really such a privilege to have our current clients and customers be involved in events like this. So I wanted to say a big thank you from me as well.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's good.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been really good to have these, Emma, Matt, Anne, all sharing different perspectives. So thank you for taking part. You have all our email addresses here. From a Unibuddy side of things, please feel free to reach out to Emma, emma@unibuddy.com. And then you'll be looking to get up and running quickly. So we look forward to that. Any questions, let us know. And I think we'll be circulating a copy of this recording. Hopefully I've recorded it. That's a challenge for the next few minutes. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And I hope that was really, really helpful to you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.